All right, everybody. Today is Fed Day, and I've got some bad news I got to talk about in this video. But first, we got to talk about what's happening in the market and how we expect and anticipate a potential U-turn coming and why. Let's break this down. So, first things first, the market has had to deal with a lot over the past about 6 weeks, frankly. This is what we've called the Great Suckening. Think about this. Google raises $80 billion. SpaceX raises $85 billion. SK Hynix and their $25 billion ADR raise. You've got corporate financing raises, a lot of money. That includes Meta, right? A lot of money has sort of been sucked out of markets because the companies are like, hey, this is a great and frothy time to try to raise some money. Let's do it. And then that way we can keep reinvesting, so to speak, in whatever initiatives we're interested in right now. The problem with this is yields were also higher during that time by about 2 Fed rate cuts. Now, across the curve, we saw yields higher, maybe 40 to 60 basis points, mostly because of the resumption of the Iran drama, which has also resumed as of the last 24 hours, which we'll talk about. But all of this has sort of led to an implosion of leveraged ETFs, and you've seen this sort of massive leverage unwind. At the same time, you're going into a lot of uncertainty regarding, what's Kevin Warsh going to say today? I'll give a little bit of a prediction on that, as well as what it means for next week. And then, of course, you've got Meta earnings, Microsoft earnings, Amazon and Apple all within the next 2 days, plus the resumption of the Iran drama. A lot going on. For a small note, how many of you think this is a green screen? Like, this is so cool. Look at this. This is actually a bar on the Disney Treasure, and this is my first time in here. This is actually really cool. I mean, the ship is just gorgeous. The ship's only like 2 years old, and so everything is like, you can still smell the leather, the newness. It's so cool. They do, like them or not, you got to give them credit for some of the best design. You ever want to get design ideas? Look around some Disney stuff. It's incredible, the attention to detail. But anyway, when we put all this together, we've got a lot that sort of goes into the Great Suckening. JP Morgan is now saying, hedge funds are now 50% delevered, and leveraged ETFs have deleveraged by about 75%. But it's more than just the U.S. side. You also have to remember what's going on in South Korea. South Korea, I wrote this down, the Kospi Index, which is Kospi Index. It's a PI at the end, not a PI at the end, which is basically like their version of the S&P 500. That index literally turned into about 50% memory stocks, mostly because of Samsung and SK Hynix. So imagine memory literally being 50% of the S&P 500. That'd be crazy. Now, while we look around here, I know a lot of you might be thinking, okay, but Kevin, what is the S&P 500, or, in terms of memory? And check this out. Isn't that cool too? It's actually about 2.5% memory. So, when you have a massive unwind in this, basically what became this meme stock sector, like it's not even like the GME moment in one stock. It's anything memory, just now, rightfully so. The earnings have been fan-frickin-tastic, but the amount of leverage that then gets created during an unwind is pretty painful. As that leverage unwind ends, I actually think we might be getting close to a recovery in a weird way, in alignment around August 3rd when I'm back from vacation. And mostly because we seem to be respecting, at least so far, some of the support levels we've been talking about in the Alpha Report. Remember, we've got an expiring coupon code on Friday for that, and that does mean the price net goes up over the long term. So if you want to secure that best price, join us over at meetkevin.com. You can use that coupon code CruiseRed. But think about this for a moment. When we get through the deleveraging, right, that we've seen, and we get through Apple, Meta, Facebook, and Microsoft earnings, that's today and tomorrow, 2 big earnings days, and we get through Kevin Warsh hawking to us, which I really think he's going to hawk to us. I'm going to talk about my Fed predictions in just a moment. And we just unfortunately get complacent again with ideas and concepts like, China's selling $60 to $80 million worth of man-pads, the portable air defense rocket launchers, basically, to Iran to help Iran with their sovereignty, maintain their sovereignty, which is basically a way of saying China and Russia are kind of siding with Iran, which we already knew. And, at least we got Ukraine helping us out in the Caspian Sea. Oh, wait, they're actually saying, no, it was a mistake. We didn't actually mean to sink an Iranian ship. Right. We'll chalk that up to a mistake. In my opinion, that was a soft little test to see how Iran would react. But then again, I don't want to be too jaded here. So let's talk about the Fed for a moment, because this is the big deal. I should honestly sit down. Maybe we'll sit down on one of these beautiful velvety chairs. You know what the sound these chairs make when you sit down on them? Coupon expires Friday. Coupon expires Friday. Dang. I'll sit on a different chair. Okay. So my prediction for the Federal Reserve this week is that we're going to get a hawkish hold, mostly because I think Kevin Warsh does not want to hike, but he's going to get forced to hike. But I do think that he can convince the committee, which is on the fence, give me 2 more data sets. the September 16th Federal Reserve meeting will give him 2 more data sets. He'll get the July employment numbers, and he'll also get the August employment numbers, which are really important. Even though ADP yesterday came in at 15K, which is still stable roughly with last